Okay. So last week, hopefully you have something like this. Now you might have different colors in your background, but these are the three patterns that we worked on, right? So we have this orange pattern, this, and you can name them whatever you like. Orange pattern, peacock pattern, and this kind of blue tile pattern. And so we did those. And then we also did, we have this background group, right? And the background group is made up of, a pattern. Well, here, I'll hide everything. So the background group is made up of a solid fill color, whatever color you wanted. And then a gradient fill, so a gradient fill. And we used foreground to transparent. And then finally, we had a pattern fill. Let's see. And then I told you to lower the opacity on this pattern. Like mine's like 11%, but I said something like, I don't know, 15 to 20% or something like that. Anyways, it's just meant to be a texture. Okay, so there it is. And all three of these are under our black and white circle button. And so we have, they're at the top of these. These are the adjustment layers, but on top of the adjustment layers, I have solid color fill layer, a gradient fill layer, and a pattern fill layer. And so we have these right here. These are the fill layers, but they are grouped with the underneath them are the adjustment layers. So we kind of talked about that last week, and you could probably get that in that video. So today we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add 3 more patterns down here. And let's quickly look at Zoom or Canvas, not Zoom, Canvas, sorry. And let's see the handout and what we have here. So let's see, what do we got here? So under week, was it 6? So we have part 2, assignment 4, part 2. And I have this. Let's see. I'm just going to change this right now. Right in front of your very eyes. Let's see. I want to say I'm just going to do it like this to make it easier for you. Oh my gosh, I can't see my. Okay. Okay. So basically, because I read this and I was like, I don't like the way I worded this. So basically, we're going to add 3 more patterns. And originally, I gave you the option to like take one of your previous patterns and to manipulate it. But I have a feeling that not many, but some students might do that incorrectly. So I'm just going to remove that problem by just saying you're going to make 3 new patterns and you're going to change one of them. You're going to change one of them. I'll show you how to do it. Let's see, what am I grading here? 11 by 17, that's the original. So let's see. But let's see. Ooh, oh. Okay, yeah. So here I just say at home, you're working at 17 by 11. That's tabloid size. We did that last week. And then Photoshop, gosh, that's weird. Photoshop at home, Photoshop PDF for upload. And then your upload resolution is going to be 150. I'll show you how to do that again. A lot of you know how to do that, but I'll just quickly show you how to do that today. Okay, there's going to be 6 patterns. Yep. Yep. Let's see, backgrounds, See, this was last week. So this is only worth 2 points. So you did this last week. So hopefully this is free points right here for the background. Let's see, 3 layer groups. You set this up last week, so hopefully this isn't a problem. So again, that's only worth 2 points because that's a gimme. And then let's see, you got to type the new names for the new, so that's easy. Okay, pattern 1, let's see. Do I have to change this? Seamless pattern created as a fill layer. Okay, yeah. Seamless pattern. Okay, so these are all good. So the 3 new patterns are what are worth the most points, right? And you got to name them. So, and then the other stuff is just kind of like stuff we've already talked about. Okay, and you can read that at your leisure, but you want to look at this when you're working on your project, right? This is like your checklist. And then here, this kind of basically explains to you what we're going to do. Oh, and then of course, right up here, we have our patterns. These are the new patterns we're going to use. And this is this document. This is basically, it's the general instructions that I pasted right here. Oh, so this will be a little different. So follow this. I'll update this one. Ugh, that'll be a pain. But it's create 3 new. 3. Okay. All right. So let's go back to Photoshop. Here I am. Now let's imagine I downloaded those files. So here are the new student patterns part 2. And some of these are really difficult. I'm going to show you, I recommend you do this one. What is this? The peak knit, the sweater knit. I recommend you do these 2 and this one. The tribal print is the easiest. The tribal print is the easiest for changing it, for modifying it, right? So this one's nice, and this one's kind of fun. It's not so bad. This one's difficult. So, I mean, if you want to challenge yourself, and you want to suffer, go for this one. So we got this one. And then this one looks easy, but it's not necessarily easy. The leopard print is weird. It's a leopard print and it's green. And then we got this flower print. The reason why the flower print is so difficult is because there's a gradient in it. There's a gradient here. And that really messes with your trying to make it seamless, because it'll always have this kind of it's lighter down here and it's darker down here and it's lighter up here. So if you do this, I'm not going to demonstrate this one. Let's see. It would be like this. You would probably start here and this would be your box. Oh, see, and you have to go into this. So this is like this is like an orange and this is like a light yellow. So this is very difficult to manipulate and change. It's not impossible, but it's hard. So anyways, you can do it if you want a challenge, but I recommend the peak knit, sweater knit, and the tribal. And I'm just going to show you these right now. Let's start with the peak knit. So I'll just show you this real fast. Okay, so here I go. So just like last week, what you would do is you would open this file. You would check to make sure it's resolution 300. It is, so you're welcome. I did that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Then what you want to do is you want to find a nice sample, right? And I highly recommend that, just like last week, use the perspective crop. So the perspective crop it's the crop tool, but you can adjust it, and I'll show you how this works. Now, the weird thing about this pattern is it looks to me like someone else before us has already made this a seamless pattern, because you can see this unusual, there's technically it's seamless, but there's like a line. There's like a line through some of these bumps. And that's highly suspicious to me, as if someone's already done this and didn't get rid of this line. So when we do ours, we want to try to get rid of this line. I mean, that's what I would recommend. That's what my old art director would see this and be like, oh, what's up with that line? I'm like, oh my gosh, art director. She was tough, right? So we want to get rid of that. But anyways, we'll deal with that. Okay, so the first thing is I want to find a good sample. So let's see. Now you don't want to do 5. I don't recommend that you do 5 because then every single one is going to be identical. And as you can tell, these are kind of organic. And so we kind of want to get as many of these as we can get. Although I must say, the more we do, the more we're going to have to change. So I would recommend halfway, kind of half in the middle. So I'm going to go like this. And I really don't want that line. So here I go. I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to do this much. So it's, I guess it's only a little more than 5. Okay, whatever. Ugh. Now, once I've started my process with my, gosh, what is this? This is the perspective, the perspective crop. What I can do is I can start moving this thing around to try to get the best possible sample. One thing, I really want to get rid of this line. So let me see if I can do that. I'm going to move this in. Maybe I can move this in before that line. Maybe, and again, your situation might be slightly different, right? Maybe you went out to this, maybe you went all the way out to here, right? Maybe you did go tighter and you only focused on these, even though I told you not to. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Now, another thing I want to worry about is, remember, what comes in also exits on the other side. And I'm kind of looking at what I have here. So this is exiting here. And I almost have a full, these are like hexes. These are like hexagons. organic hexagons. But this one, I have a little extra. So maybe I can move this up a little. I kind of want to get this. Now, my crop is not a perfect box, but it's going to kind of warp it slightly when I crop it. But I kind of want this to be a little neater. Let's see, that looks okay. I want half of this and half of this. And I kind of want to avoid that line. I may still get a line, but I'm going to try to remove that. I don't know. This looks okay. I don't know. This looks kind of dicey. This looks like it's a little too dark here. So maybe I'm going to move this down a little. Notice that it's kind of skewed a little bit. That's okay. I want to try to find the halves that I want. For instance, if this was, I don't even want to mess it up. Here, I can do this. But if this was like this, I'm going to have this weird half here, and then this is kind of complete. Please tell me I can undo that. Dude, I can't. Okay, so I got to bring it back down. So you want to keep that in mind. Let's see. This looks pretty good. Remember, I'm keeping in mind. Okay, this really matters because this will make your life more easy if you spend a little time trying to get this just right. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to press enter. Remember how my perspective crop was skewed, but now once it cropped it, it's a square now, right? So that's how the perspective crop works, and usually it's pretty nice. Now I still have this weird seam here, whatever. Okay, now we're at this part where we need to check the dimensions, right? And we did this last week, so I'm going to go image size, and the first thing I need to do is I need to change this to pixels. I already did this earlier this morning, but you're probably set to inches, and you don't want inches, so you have to change this to be pixels. So pixels, and then we want to make sure that our height and our width pixel dimensions are even numbers. So now, luckily, mine are even numbers. Here. I'm going to make them not even numbered. Ooh, yuck. So if they weren't even numbers, what I would have to do is I would have to change them. Now, if they're both, I'm sorry, if they're odd numbers, I have to change them to be even, right? So currently they're both odd. Okay. So if they're both odd, then you want to make sure it's linked. And usually if you change one, if you make one even and only change it by one pixel number, right? Don't dramatically change the pixel numbers. It should modify the other one, and it did. Now, if for some reason you have one pixel number is even and one is odd, then you want to break the link, and then you just want to change the one odd number and make it even and lower it by one pixel. So if this was 491, I would highlight the 1 and make it as 0. I'd go down one number. You don't want to add a number, you want to subtract a number. But luckily, mine is working pretty good, so I don't have to worry about that. And then finally, before I move on, I need to mentally do the math. I need to divide this in half, these numbers. I need to divide by 2. So I'm going to do that right now. And then I usually write it down on a piece of paper, put it on your phone, whatever. But okay, so 498 divided by 2 is 249. Yep. And then 492 is 281. No, 6. Yes, 286. Is that right? It can't be right. Screwed up. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, it's 246, right? Yeah, 246. Woo! Math. Okay, so that should be correct. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK though, but I'm not going to change these numbers now, right? Okay, so now I'm ready for my offset filter pattern, or no, I'm sorry, well, the offset filter. We talked about this last week. This is in last week's video. So I'm going to go filter, other. So this is just like in last week's video. I'm going to go offset. So filter, other, offset. And here's where I want to put in those half numbers. So my first half number was 249. My second half number was 246. Okay, not bad, not bad. So I'm going to hit OK. So just like last week and in last week's video, I talked about how what it did was, is it divided the quadrants and put them in the corners. And so you don't have to manipulate this outside edge, but you do need to correct the middle, right? There's like a crosshair in the middle, and you can kind of see it. It's not terrible, but you can kind of see this crosshair in the middle, and you can see that my hexagons are kind of slightly skewed, right? Now, the reason why these patterns are difficult is because they're not, like, they have physical texture, right? Like this one and the other one. These are, well, I guess this one's a peak knit, right? But whatever, it's difficult. It's like a shape. And so I need to try to repair this as best I can. So there's a lot of, I have to do copy and paste. I have to do, what is it? Copy and paste. I got to do the spot healing brush and stuff like that. Now, the spot healing brush will work for some of this stuff. Let me zoom in. It doesn't work great. Like here you can see a distinct color change, right? But let's try it. So let's start. So first I'm going to start with, oh, and then by the way, some of the handouts that you had last week, they said, oh, you might want to save this as a new file. So like you could save this as a broken version of this is the peak knit. I could say peak knit broken, right? But I'm not gonna do that, but you could, and it might help you in case you royally mess up. Well, you saved it before you started changing stuff, because it's easy to make, you can make things worse actually, if you're not careful, or if you're just learning, right? Anyways, I'm gonna start with the spot healing brush. Make sure your spot healing brush isn't gigantic. This won't work. Let's see. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if it worked? Oh no. Okay, so it didn't work very well. It's weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it smaller. It's kind of freaky that it didn't do much of it at all. I'm just going to go right on this edge here. Let's see. Yeah. So this is kind of working, but it's kind of sloppy too. Like you're like, oh, that looks great. Like, and if this was really tiny, some people may not notice. But remember, you may have an art director like I had an art director, and she's gonna like, she would know, she could tell. She was tough. I was like, it's good enough. She's like, nope. It's like, oh man. Well, I'm gonna start this way, and you're gonna be like, oh, that's good enough. Like, I'll show you, I'll zoom in, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I guess that's, ooh, look at this. This is terrible. Look at this. Ooh, that's totally funky. Okay, so it's a little smooth. Like when I zoom out, you're like, oh, that looks pretty good. But if I zoom in close, you can tell it's like, oh, there's this weird smear here. Like, what's up with that? And then this, I can kind of see that. So, but I did start with the spot healing brush. The spot healing brush is the bandage with the little spot. And my brush is not that big. So I'm just trying to get rid of that. I'm trying to blur that seam. Now there's still a seam there. It's kind of like it's a little better. Now this is where I like to use the patch. The patch works kind of nicely. So the patch is underneath the spot healing brush. So I have the patch tool. And the patch, what it's going to do is, well, I'll show you. I'm going to make a selection over my flaw. So here's my kind of flaw. And my flaw is this. I want this to be blended a little better, right? Now I draw the selection, I draw the patch, the area that I want to fix. Then what I can do is I can drag, I put my patch into the selection, and I can move this around, and it will apply this new texture pattern to my original patch area. So this looks like a pretty clean, this looks pretty clean. So I'm going to let go, and I'm going to deselect, Control D. That looks pretty good. It looks like it kind of worked better. Now I'm going to try it here. I got this weird skinny, flaw that I fixed, but I can still see that kind of smudge. I want to get rid of that smudge. So I'm going to try to move this over. Now, if I move it over, I might get this mark. I don't want this mark. Maybe I'll just move it over here. Control D. That feels better. That feels better. So the patch is nice for kind of putting this texture back on, and it kind of blends, it kind of auto blends it. And it kind of camouflages any kind of flaw I might have. And it seems to be working pretty good. Let's see, here you can kind of see that line. Remember how I said I don't like that line? It's faint, but you can kind of see that edge. I'm just going to move it over. Yep, kind of blend it a little. Let's see, here I got it too. Like I want to get rid of this dark spot. It looks, let's see. Yep, kind of blended it. So these are the things you want to think about. Gosh, look at this funky mark. It's just so out of place. And I just want to blend it. I want it, you don't want there to be, well, here I got some more of those dark marks, but you don't want there to be an obvious, repeatable, noticeable mark. Like this thing looks funky. Like it's weird. Like this one's the worst one. This one, you can tell this hexagon got split. This one got split. The problem though is this is near the bottom. This is near the edge, and I'm supposed to leave these parts alone. I'm supposed to leave these alone. But maybe there's a way I can fix this. And the best way I can think of to fix this is mainly it's the top that's messed up, right here, the top. And so what I can do is, oh gosh, let me fix this real quick. I'm going to patch this. Okay, it's because I want to use, well, maybe I can use this one. Here, oh shoot, let me get rid of this. Okay, so maybe I can use part of the top of this one and put it here, or this one's pretty close to this one, and that might cause, there might be a noticeable repeat. So maybe I want to go here. Maybe I'm going to copy this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my lasso. And I'm going to copy a part of this one and just paste it directly on top of this. But here's what I recommend. When you use your lasso to copy and paste now, because this is a organic, this looks like a carpet. This is kind of like a funky carpet. Or I guess maybe it's a sweater. I think it looks like a carpet to me. But anyways, it's soft. The edges are kind of soft. And I don't want to have a hard edge on my selection. So what I recommend is when you use your selection, before you make your selection with your selection tool, which is the lasso, I'm using my lasso selection tool, give it a feather. By default, the feather is 0. I recommend 1 or 2. Normally I say 1, but because this is extra soft, I'm going to say 2 pixel feather. So this was a 0 up here. I'm going to make it 2. It already was a 2, but right. And you won't see the feather option until you select your lasso. So I select my lasso. I change the feather to be 2 pixels, right? In fact, you can just do that right now. Even if you're not doing this, just change your feather on your lasso to 2. That'll help you. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace a portion of this that I like. You probably don't want to select everything. You just want to select a portion of this, right? Because I only want to paste part of it. I want to paste it right on top of this thing. Okay, now, just like last week, I talked about last week's video, I need to use the move tool. So the shortcut for the move tool is V. Here's the shortcut, or here's the move tool. Then I'm going to hold the Alt key. You have to hold the Alt key, and I can copy this. I'm just going to paste this thing right on top here. And then to deselect, it's Control D. And so there it is. So this looks funky. I need a little more here, but that's okay. I'll leave it. So that's it, right? Now, your situation might be worse. You might have to copy and paste a couple things. For instance, right here, I don't like this. So again, I'm going to lasso. Shortcut for lasso is L. I'm just going to copy part of this. Let's see, maybe more. There's a red spot there that I don't want. Okay, so I use my lasso. I'm just going to copy a part of this. I'm going to use the move tool, shortcut V. I'm going to hold the Alt key to make a copy. I'm just going to copy this thing. I'm going to put this right about here. And then Control D. Now, you might be asking, what's the difference between copying and pasting and the lasso? The lasso mainly just applies texture. So if you have like a smooth mark from your spot healing brush, you can use the patch to kind of add some texture back. And it does add a little bit of color too for the patch. But for copy and paste, that is for replacing a funky edge or like something that's missing. Now right here, boy, I don't like this color here. The problem is it's on the edge. It's on the edge. And normally I tell you don't fix this stuff. Well, maybe what I can do, here's what I can do. instead of fixing this, maybe I could just add some more of this dark color right here, because it just looks weird that like it's almost like it abruptly stops and shifts down. Well, maybe I'll just shift down the dark spot a little more. Maybe that'll be a good solution. So again, I'm going to copy some of this. Maybe I'm going to, and you're like, how do you know what to do? You have to kind of decide. Like, I can't be over your shoulder when you're doing this. That's why this is difficult, right? Anyways, I'm going to copy this. So like, here's my decision. I'm just going to go with that. Let's see, boy, I'm going to try. We'll see if it works. Control D. So I kind of went with it. Instead of removing it, I added a little more. Okay. And then finally, I don't like this line. Can you see this line? I don't like it. So patch will work pretty good here. Watch. And you don't have to fix the whole line. That would be weird. Just fix these obvious, like right here, I can kind of see it. There's like, it's like a little gray seam. Let's see it. I got a little bit here. And you're like, Dave, I don't know. Like, how do you know? I don't know. Just remember or watch this again. But that feels better. That feels better. Okay. I don't like this mark here. So like maybe I would get rid of this mark. But the problem is I have a couple of those marks. I got one here, here, here. So maybe it's okay. Maybe I'll leave it. But again, these are the decisions you'll have to make, right? But this feels pretty good. I'm pretty proud of this. So now I'm ready to define my pattern. So to define my pattern, I need to do this. I need to select all. So the shortcut for select all is what? Control A. And I guess if you're on a Mac, it's Command A, or I could have gone select menu and I could have done select all. So I select all. I want to select all this. Then I'm going to go edit menu. So edit, define pattern. And we did that last week. So that's in last week's video. Okay, so now I want to check to see if this worked. Okay, so then how do I paste this into a new swatch? Well, last week we set up 3 groups. I'm gonna select my pattern group. I'm gonna open it up. Okay, I'm gonna open it up. Then I'm going to I'm gonna make a new layer. So I'm gonna make a new layer. I would name it. I'm gonna name it peak, or whatever you want to name it. Carpet, I don't care. Sweater number 1. So it's a blank layer. You can see it right here. Now I need to fill it. I need to fill this blank layer with my pattern. Okay, so I go edit, fill. So edit, fill, just like last week. And then I want to find that pattern. So let's see, it's down here. Let's see how well I got it. Let's see if I messed up. Oh, look, here's that line, right? But I got rid of a lot of it. Ooh, you can see it. Let's see. This is pretty good, though. This is pretty good. You can see it repeating. This is okay for my class. But like I said, just be wary. Be wary. Like my old art director, she may not be, like you can see these strips. It's seamless technically, but it's like, it's just the way the shadows fall and just the way it kind of worked out. It's like you can see, like, I can kind of see strips. But it is seamless. It's not like there's like this weird cut. It just, because of the shading on these bumps, it just looks, anyways. But this is fine. This is pretty good. I'm not going to be that critical. If it's really bad, maybe you'll lose, I don't know, maybe you lose a point or 2. But that's pretty good. But boy, these are not easy. Okay, finally, I filled the whole layer. Now I need to have a 4-inch square. So again, just like last week, I'm going to use my rectangular marquee. Then I'm going to set the style of my rectangular marquee to fixed size. It may already be set up that way from last week, right? 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to click once. I have my selection square. Then I'm going to mask it. The mask button is at the bottom of the layers panel, just like last week. The box with the circle, I click on it. Great. Then I'm going to add a layer style effect. I'm going to add a stroke. And hopefully it remembers the last one I did, which is, this was 4. So I think I said 3 pixels inside black. I think default it's 3 inside black, but you can check.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, it scared me.
Sorry.
Yeah,
How did you fill the layer with the pattern?
this one, I'll do it again. So again, so I have a blank layer. So I just make a new empty layer and it's under edit. So it's edit, fill, and then you want to pick pattern. So the default, I think, is foreground color, but on the fill, we want to do pattern. So pattern, and then you find your pattern, which is probably on the bottom, and that's what you do. So it's blank layer or empty layer, edit, fill. That's the way I want you to do it because it is easier. It's easier for this homework. So edit, fill, but everyone forget what I'm about to show you. Other teachers would be like, no, Dave, you do it like this. You go pattern fill from here, right? Pattern fill. And then you pick your pattern. The problem with this is, if you can figure it out, you can do it this way. But watch. Oh, I have a pattern fill. Like, Dave, how come you wouldn't teach us this way? Because I still need that swatch. And so here's what you have to do if you do it from here. Pattern fill. You have to throw away this mask. You have to throw away this mask. And you have to delete it. And then make your swat or your box with because I want to have a 4-inch mask, right? So I need to make a new mask. And so I go here, I go select, what is this? Rectangular marquee, fixed size 4:4. Then I have to make the mask again. Some students mess up when they try to when they have a hard time throwing the mask away. So that's the only reason why I say go edit, fill. But technically, some of you are like, oh, I can throw a mask away, Dave. I can throw a mask away and do it again. Then that's fine. I don't care. You could do it this way. But this is a little trickier for some students. That's why I just tell you, edit, fill, and then pattern, fill it with the pattern. And then, but both ways work. If you can figure out the other way, great. If not, forget that. So I'll show you that once and you're like, oh, I'm doing it that way. Okay, fine, do it that way. But it might be tricky. Anyways, okay, good question. Now, let me show you the next one. So the next one is, now I have to do this one, but this one's more important because this is the one that we can change easily. We need to manipulate and change the color of one of our patterns. And so this is the easiest one to do. And it's kind of fun. It's not that difficult to do. So I'm going to open this one up. This is our tribal pattern. Wow, that took forever to open up. Okay. And here you can see clearly that it's skewed, like it's kind of skewed in. But this is where the perspective crop kind of helps us. Now, you can choose on this one because this is the easiest one to manipulate. So this is the one I want you to manipulate. Now, for some reason, you didn't follow directions and you changed another one and it worked. Okay. But this is the easier one to change. This is the one I want you to change because it's easy to change and it's kind of fun. It's like possible. It's easy and fun to change. Okay. So normally I would do this. Normally it's like, okay, I can see there's two rows together and then there's a gap. So it's like, how do I do that? How do I make 2 rows? Let's see. It would be like this, I think. It would be like this. That's how, let's see, because this will connect to this. I'll have this in the middle and I'll have a gap. So and you have to think that way because if I just did, gosh, can I undo this? It's so lame. Oh, can I do this to get rid of it? You want to think like, if you wanted to match this pattern perfectly, because I have like 2 stripes, a gap, and a stripe. You'd want to think that way, like, how's that going to work? And that's what it is. I'm going to include the gap in the pattern, but because we're going to manipulate this one, I'm not necessarily going to make you do that. You can avoid that. You could do something like this. Let's see. Right? So you could find something like this And now if I did this as a pattern, there would be no gap. There would be like no 2 rows gap in a row. This would be like even all around. But I'll let you do that. You can do that because the goal of this homework assignment is to modify one of our new patterns. And this is the easiest one to do. So you could do it this way, but I am going to, so you could do it that way, but I'm going to include the gap. I want to include the gap. So here we go. But boy, look at that flaw. Look at this flaw. This one's funky. So I'm going to bring it down. So I'm going to start with orange. Okay. And then I want this to be kind of centered. Okay. And then again, when you're doing this with the perspective, you want to keep in mind like what the top of your pattern looks like in the bottom. Like right now, I've got a little extra. And if I can, I want to try to line this up as best I can. So let's see here. I want that on that edge. See, sometimes you can't, like sometimes even though like this is kind of a straight line, the pattern itself is skewed. And so even though this is mostly straight, it doesn't line up here. So I'm just going to tweak this as best I can. Sometimes, oh man, stinks. I got to do this. Okay. It's because I'm trying to get the middle of all 3 of these. Now, sometimes you can't get everything perfect. So you want to keep in mind, well, what's the best solution? Like if I can't fix everything, what do I want to fix the most? And I probably want to fix these. This one I might be able to adjust later. Okay, fine. And then I want to get this bottom. Oh man, that's terrible. Whoa. Wow. Whoa. So this one, wow. Okay, someone doesn't line up at all. So before I commit this and suffer with this one, maybe I can try to line up, this one doesn't, maybe this one will line up a little better than this one. So let me try. Dude, no, it doesn't. Okay, fine. I'm just going to suffer. So let's see. The more struggles I have, the more it'll hopefully teach you, right? Okay, and I do want some of this middle brown, so I want some of that. So let's see, I got that. Whew. Okay, and then this, okay, and I gotta fix this now. Oh, I got this fixed. Wow, it's so messed up. Well, let's see how well or how not so well it works. And then you can watch me suffer. Again, I'm looking at the bottoms. So like, I want to get right in the middle. It's like a little chevron. And here's my chevron up here. Okay. The whites will be okay because they're on the inside, right? That feels okay, but look how skewed that is. Okay, so fine. I'm going to commit it. I'm going to press enter. So there it is. But the nice thing is the perspective crop, it adjusted. So this is why it's super essential to use this. The perspective crop is nice for this very reason. Okay, you see I got a little dot here, but that'll be easy to fix later. Okay, now I want to look at my image size, and I just like the last one, image size, and I want to make sure my measurements are in pixels, and I want to make sure that both the height and the width are even numbers. Currently, they're odd numbers, but the nice thing is that they're both odd numbers. So I'm going to go 2, good, and then I got to write down these numbers. So I have, so half of 282 is 141. Half of 158, I got to divide that by 2, is 79. Okay, so here we go. So but I don't change the numbers here. So I just write down the height and the width halved on a separate piece of paper. Okay. Okay, it made it smaller by a pixel. Then I'm going to go filter, just like last week, and just like what I just showed you, filter other offset. And I'm going to type in these middle numbers, 141, and, ooh, please work. Oh, that was terrible. Okay. Okay, so here you can see I have an obvious tear, right? This looks pretty bad. But the nice thing is I don't have to worry about the corners and the tops and the side, but this is pretty crummy. Ooh, and I have a color shift. So this is bad. See how this is darker than this? Ugh. All right. So that's pretty unfortunate that this is darker than this. So maybe there's a way I can blend. Maybe I can make this darker. I don't know. For now, though, I want to fix this. This just looks terrible. So what can I do? One thing I can do is maybe I want to start by smoothing some of this stuff out. So I'm going to use I need a lot more than smoothing, but I'm going to use my spot healing brush, and I'm going to make it smaller, and I just want to smooth this a little. I mean, it helps. Okay, I'm gonna spot this. Let's see. Okay. A little better. Okay. This is just terrible. Now look at this thing. There's a little white spot there, so I want to see if I can get rid of that. So my spot healing brush. Yeah, so that thing's gone. Okay. Oh boy. Whew. Okay. So now remember, you may have your own troubles depending on what you sampled, right? But like I said, this is okay because my suffering may help you, because you may have worse. If you get something that's absolutely terrible, maybe just try it again. Maybe load the pattern again and try to sample a different portion of that to try to get a better, an easier, job ahead of you. Okay, but anyways, one thing I talked about is copy and paste. So this looks so. Here, let me do this. This lines up, so that's good, but this doesn't. So again, maybe I can just do that copy and paste. Just like last time, I can make a selection with my lasso, the flaw I want to fix. Then I move my lasso selection with the lasso itself. I put the lasso inside and I move it to a good area. Then I want to copy and paste part of this and just paste it over that. So to do that, I use the move tool. So I hit V for my move tool. V is the shortcut for move. I hold the Alt key to make a copy. Oh. And I paste it here. Now, the reason why I'm laughing is because I'm going to undo that. Control D. My selection was super soft because of the feather. So the 2-pixel feather made my selection a little too soft. Now that might help you, might be okay, but I'm going to do a 1-pixel feather or a 0-pixel feather for this work that I need to do. So let me try it again. I'm going to try a 1-pixel feather. 1 pixel won't be as bad as 2. So again, I'm going to go here. I'm going to use my move tool, Alt key. It softened it, Control D, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Again, though, I have this problem. This is lighter than this. So, and I don't like this. I don't like it how there's like a bump. I want it to be more like a sharp edge like that. So we've used the smudge tool. So just last week, smudge tool. You don't want your smudge to be too big like this. You want to be small. You want to be like 2 or 3 pixels. So if I zoom in a little bit here, now my smudge, maybe I want to be kind of small. And I'm going to start, if I want to smudge the orange over, I start in the orange and I smudge it over. Ew. Okay, so maybe I'm going to start here and smudge over that. Yeah. Okay, so there it is. And then let's see. Now the problem is I have this lighter value on this diamond here. So I'm going to try the patch. The patch kind of blends stuff, and maybe I can blend this with this darker value up here. So let me try it. So I'm going to go patch. Let me see if it works. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because this diamond that I need to sample may not be big enough. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just going to go kind of in the middle here. Okay. And I'm going to move this up. Let's see if it blends it. Ooh, it didn't blend it. It didn't blend the value. I could copy and paste this. Do I really want to do that? I don't know. Let's try. Okay, so I move this up. Move tool, which is V, Alt key to copy. I'm going to paste this here. Control D, deselect. That kind of helped. And then maybe just let this be lighter. Okay. Anyways, let's go over here. Oh, this looks bad. So again, maybe I can just smudge this or copy and paste it. I could smudge this, or I could just go, here's my flaw. I can move this out, move tool, Alt key, just kind of paste it back over. So whether I smudged or copy and paste, it's up to you. This looks funky. I got like this little mark here. Now, again, I'm zoomed in pretty close. Let's see, but let me try the patch. Let me try a small patch. I'm like super small, like pixel level. Come on, work. That didn't work. Maybe it did. Maybe a little. And also, I've got this weird line here. Oh, man. There's like a little bit of a line there. So this I probably want to smudge, but I want to smudge like 1 pixel. I want this orange on top of that. So again, sometimes you can go in. I mean, I can make my smudge tiny. This is like 1 pixel. I'm just going to smudge that orange. And you're like, Dave, do I really have to do that? And I bet you my fellow instructors be like, I can't believe Dave's doing that. It works. So remember, I had that little line there. But the nice thing is when you're zoomed in super close, you can fine tune those things. And then when you zoom away, it works. It kind of works pretty good. Okay, fine. Now we're on to this thing. This thing I definitely need to copy and paste. So boy, this is just funky. So what I think I want to do is first I want to fix this. Okay, so I'm going to just copy and paste. So let's see, I got here. And I may not be able to fix everything at first. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to try not to select any of that white. I'm going to switch to the move tool, which is V on your keyboard. I'm going to hold the Alt key to make a copy. I'm just going to paste it right here. I need a good sample of this. Control D to deselect. Okay, there it is. Now what I need to do is I need to copy, I need to move this over. So let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, oops, wrong tool. Lasso. So here we go. Like I need it to be like this. And I'm going to try to avoid this part, I guess. This might mess up this part a little bit. Okay. Now what I want to do is, now how did I know, what did I do? How did I know to do this? First, and again, this is something that's hard to teach. It's something that you may just have to figure out, or maybe you might copied some of it and you had more steps than me. But let me just explain to you why I'm making my selection this way, and then maybe that'll help. First off, I want to select the area I want to fix. So that's right here. Okay, and I'm going to copy and paste this thing over. The reason why I avoided the white stripe, because I don't want to copy more of the white stripe and then kind of have it over here. That'll be another thing I need to fix. So I'm hoping to avoid that. I don't think I can avoid this. I think I might have to fix this again. Okay. But the reason why I copied some of this brown, this dark brown, is because when I move this over, I want to cover up some of the original stripe. So I don't want to just go right on the edge of the stripe, although it might have still worked if I didn't go all the way over. But I want to have a little extra of this brown to kind of cover up the original. I don't know, let's see. But
the goat's back.
Okay,
You're
we're
muted.
back. And now you can hear me. Okay, now you can hear me. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to what I was talking about here. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna screen share. That was a bummer. No, okay, so here's my selection. I'm gonna record. Oh, it says I'm still recording. Okay, so hopefully I'm still recording. Okay, so anyways, wow. Okay, so I moved it over, and now I wanna copy this and bring it over. So I'm gonna go Move tool. I'm gonna hold the Alt key, and now I'm gonna drag this over. Now the problem is, I have another little bit of a flaw, but that'll be easier to fix. Okay, and I'm going to deselect, Control D. So it wasn't a completely successful copy and paste, But this, I can fix this stuff kind of easily. Okay, so let me try it again over here. So again, I need this area fixed. And this time I am gonna go here. Maybe I was wrong the first time. Okay, because I'm gonna move this in. See, I'm gonna have this flaw. I'm gonna switch to the move tool. I'm just gonna copy this and try to move it out. Let's see here. Oh boy, that's terrible. Let's see, maybe I can move it down. Whew, not a perfect fix. Okay, but anyways, I'm gonna go with it. Let's see, I want that to be fixed. Okay, let's try it. Control D, deselect. Okay, so as you can see, I'm fixing some things, but screwing up some other things. Like this is kind of screwed up. This is kind of screwed up, but this is easy to fix. So is that. Okay, so fine. So I'm gonna scroll in here. The nice thing is the shape is mostly corrected. So here, I want to fix this thing. Okay, then I'm going to move it over here. Move tool, Alt key, copy it, paste it on top. Control D. Okay, it's better. Here's another flaw. I'm going to lasso it. So again, I use my lasso to lasso the flaw, and I use the lasso itself to move the selection to sample. Then I switch to the move tool, just like last week. I hold the Alt key and I drag a copy of this right on top. That looks pretty good. Control D, deselect. Better, it's better. Here's another flaw. I'm gonna go selection here. And I wanna find a good portion of the yellow. So let's see, I guess I'm gonna move this down. Try not to select the brownish. Okay, then I'm gonna switch to the move tool, which is the V key on your keyboard. I'm gonna hold the Alt key to make a copy. I'm gonna paste this on top. Ooh, look, it didn't completely do it. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do it a second time. Okay, there it is. Control D, deselect. Better. This thing looks funky. I think the best way to fix this is to extend. Now, so I have a choice here. So you're like, okay, if I was a student, I could either A, put brown here, or B, extend the orange, or C, extend the orange and put a little bit of brown here. So maybe what I'll do is I will extend the orange. Let's see here. So I'm going to copy that. Okay, Control D, deselect. And then maybe I'll just add some brown here. That's probably what I would have done. But maybe you left that, and maybe it's a small detail and it's not that big of a deal. So, I leave it up to you. Anyways, I'm gonna add some brown. So V for the move tool, Alt key to copy. I'm just going to paste it there. I could have smudged it maybe. Okay, that's pretty good. So that's looking better. I still got this funky thing here. Let's see. I'm going to smudge it just a little bit. And when I smudge it, I'm kind of stitching it. I'm starting in one color and I'm kind of going over it. Now, one reason why we can get away with using the smudge is because these patterns, these samples, these whatever these are taken from, they're a low resolution quality, and so we're already in the pixels. And so if you can kind of get away with smudging this stuff because it's a low resolution image. If this is an ultra high resolution, perfectly or if it wouldn't be perfectly seamless, but if it was a high resolution, it might be more difficult to use the smudge because it might be more noticeable that you're fixing things with the smudge. So I don't know. I don't like that gray there, so I'm just going to smudge some orange over it. Okay. That looks pretty good. Let's see. Now, another problem I have is this right here. This is darker and this is lighter. So now, there's a lot of different complicated things you can do. One thing, and the problem is it's very difficult to make it perfect. So, oh gosh, look at this. This thing's gone. So this is just me being like, I don't want to, oh shoot, hold on. It's weird that it's such a light, so move tool. There. So you can fix little things like that. Now, this is hard to change. So the best thing to do is to blend it, just to blend it. That's what I highly recommend. And man, it's not easy. So let's just try it. Let's see if I can do it. What I'm going to do is I don't want to select the dark brown. because that can create more problems. I'm going to select I'm going to kind of select the intermediary. Oh, this ain't going to work. Okay, fine. I'm doing this. Okay. I just want to blend this a little better. I have to move it to the darker color. And then I'm going to copy it. Let's try this. I want to blend this more, but whatever. Let me try it. I want to do this thing. So let's see. Okay. Why a triangle shape? Well, because I want to copy up here and this triangular shape. And maybe I would have done a little bit and then done some more. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to move it up here, but you can see that my triangular shape fits, right? Okay, Alt key to copy. Again, this isn't perfect. Control D. So now it just looks like it's darker, a little lower. All right, all right. Now let's see if we can patch it. The patch wasn't doing it as great as I would have liked. Let's try it. Lighter color. Ooh, that did a little bit of work. Let me try it again. Okay, well, anyways, I'm going to go to the lighter color. It kind of blends it a little. Let's try it here. Maybe I want to patch it more and blend it more. Again, I have to go down to this area. That kind of helped. The problem is it's not perfect. This is just darker. Now, there's other more complicated things you can do. I don't recommend it. I recommend something like this. If you have a little bit of as long as it's smooth, probably okay because we're learning, right? But other teachers might see there's no easy way to do this. But maybe don't, and be super careful to do this. This is darker. This is darker up here. So maybe I will dodge this. Dodge tool brightens. But even now, I'm suspect that this might work. I'm very weary of doing this because this can look funky too. You have to get the right size brush and not do too much. Like I just did it a little bit. So maybe I'll do this a little bit and this a little bit, and then maybe this a little bit. But I wouldn't do it too much. Oh, look at this. This is terrible. So like lighter. Oh, see, I don't like this stuff. Lighter. 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 So I'm using dodge a little bit. The default exposure is 30%. The higher, well, no, I don't think the default, I don't know if the default exposure is 30%. I recommend 30% for your exposure. If it's not your default. I think it might be higher and I adjusted it to 30. But you only want to do it like maybe once. You don't want to keep going like bright, bright, bright. Because it'll look weird. So just once. You cannot do miracles with the dodge. That's a little better. But here I can see that this is I have a problem here. This is darker than this. So again, maybe I can copy and paste this, or maybe I can just do the patch. I'm going to try the patch. The problem with the patch is, see how that, undo. Let me go in here. Because it's a chevron, because it kind of has this angle, I need to make, maybe do baby steps. Boy, that stinks. This is maybe okay. Oh no. Ooh, that was worse. Undo, undo. I don't know. Let's see over here. This is problematic. So again, maybe I can just smudge this a little. I'm just gonna smudge it. Which one? Control D. I don't like that. Anyways, okay. Well, oh my gosh, where'd this line come from? Did I make that? Okay, so like you want to avoid something like that. Like that's worse than a color shift. E. Okay. Ooh, I'm just gonna leave it. Okay. So it looks pretty good so far. Now is the moment where I can change stuff. I can add chevrons. I can add a little diamond in the middle. I can add a line by itself, but that would be difficult. And so here's where you can add stuff. The tricky part though, and this is where you want to pay close attention, is that if there's going to be multiple layers. And when I'm done adding things as multiple layers, you want to merge them or combine them. One more thing, look at this. Doesn't this look like a seam here? This looks terrible. So let me try to blend this. Maybe not all of it. Oh gosh. I tried to blend that line a little. I think it blended a little bit. Okay, so anyways, here's a point where you can paint stuff. The problem is, since this is such a crappy low resolution image, you almost need to match the crappy low resolution quality. How about that? So let me show you. I want to paint a diamond in the middle, but my diamond will look like, it'll look perfect. Maybe not, maybe not. Here's what I recommend. You can paint a diamond, a circle. You could do whatever you want, right? But you want to modify this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, you could paint directly on the background, and that might be easier. Let me try. First, I want to select this color, and I think, oh, that's white. It may not be white. It might be a light gray or a light yellow gray. So I'm going to use the eyedropper. The eyedropper selects color. It was not a white. It was like a yellow. It was like a light yellow. It had 13% yellow in it. Now, some of these other, there's 14. So it has a little bit of yellow in it. That's why you don't want to just assume the color. You can use the eyedropper to select it. So I just selected this color. Wow, that has even more yellow. I want this. This is like 16. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint it. So I'm gonna get a paintbrush and I'm gonna just paint a diamond in there. You're like, it's as easy as that? Yes. And then maybe this is just gonna be a big dot. Here's the problem, watch. You gotta think smartly. If I do a perfect dot here, that kind of looks okay. But look at the overall pattern. It almost looks hand painted. So you almost want it to be not 100% perfect. So instead, I'm just going to paint an almost perfect circle. You're like, really? Yes. And then maybe I'll just paint another one that's not exactly the same. You're like, really, Dave? Yes. Remember, you want to match the overall. You don't want it to stick out like a sore thumb. Now, I could maybe fix this a little bit. I actually kind of like it. Oh, gosh. Like I can make that a little sharper, but don't make it too perfect, right? Okay, that's good. Now, the problem is if I zoom in, it may be hard to see, but this is like a perfectly solid color, and this is not. I want to try to get some of this pixelated texture on my new motif. And this is kind of overthinking it, but let's try. Gosh, I don't know if I can get it. The patch used to be only texture. So let's try. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if it's going to totally screw it up. Ooh. Yeah, whatever. That didn't work. Okay, fine. And then, dude, like, I don't want to do this one step at a time. That would, I guess I have to. Goodness. Okay, fine. Okay, deselect, Control D. I want a little bit of texture here. So I'm going to go here. I want a little texture here. What a pain. Go here. This is the hard way. And you're like, Dave, I can't even see that. I know. If it was, this is mostly a white or a lighter color, but I am adding it. Like when you zoom in, you'll notice it. Now here, this is even harder. I'm gonna get a little bit at a time. And you may not have to do stuff when you work professionally. This is only for, sometimes you might find yourself working for someone and they're like, I want realism. And this is how you would do realism. So you may not have to do it on a pattern. It's hard to tell like what I did, but there's a little bit of crappy texture pattern. The crappy texture pattern matches the crappy texture pattern of the original image, okay? But anyways, there it is. So I added some motifs here. Do I have to add them everywhere? No, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll just copy and paste this one. You can do whatever you want. So I'm gonna go move tool. I'm gonna paste this here. Oh, it doesn't match though. That's okay. And then maybe I want to have a dot in the middle. You could do, like I said, you could do whatever you want. Notice how it's imperfect. I'm going to copy this, move tool, just going to drag this and just put it in the middle there. That might be hard to see, but whatever, let's try it. Okay. I don't like that, but I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. Okay. I could add stuff out here. Maybe, and you don't have to, I changed it. This is enough. I'm just giving you ideas. Maybe I want to copy this white chevron. So let's see, I'm going to go, I want to stay in the white. Let's see here. Or maybe I could paint one outside. Let's see here. I don't know if this is going to look good. Let's find out. Move tool, copy. Yeah, it's okay. So maybe I'll put some of these out here. And then I'm too lazy to copy this one. So maybe I'll just flip this one around. So again, I can do show transform controls. I can rotate it around, right? And then press enter. Oh gosh, come on, enter key. My enter key is not really working. So maybe I'll try this. Oh, it was working. It's just I have show transform controls on. Enter. Oh my gosh, stop. So you can see I added a bunch of stuff. I could add maybe something here, but I would probably focus more on the middle. I did a lot. You don't have to add that much. Finally, once if I want to change the color overall, this is where I need to use a separate layer. So we've done this before, right? Remember our, just like last week, we had color balance. Let's try hue and saturation. So I'm going to go hue and saturation. This is going to be a separate layer. And I'm going to change the properties. So let's see. Ooh, I love this red. But I could do anything. Purple, blue. I love the red. Let's see. Boy, but maybe I'll do purple. Or blue. Okay, but there it is. Now, the problem is, if I try to define this as a pattern and I have a separate layer, it'll try to take that adjustment layer and try to make it into a pattern, and it won't work. So if you have more than one layer, like I do, you need to merge them. So what I need to do is I need to select both of these. I'm going to hold Shift or Control to select both layers. Oh, delight. Okay. It doesn't want me to select the background layer, so I'm gonna, I have a choice. I can make my background layer a normal layer just by double clicking it. It's a normal layer. Now I can select both of these, and you need to select, it's fickle. I need to select this area. So I'm gonna hold Shift and click here. Now they're both selected. And I'm gonna go to options and I'm gonna merge layers. Now, normally you never merge layers. In fact, I wish I didn't have to teach this to you, because I'm gonna get all kinds of students. Oh, I merged my layers. Remember you taught me how to merge layers? Yeah, never merge layers. This is the time you can merge layers. When you're making a pattern and you have multiple layers that make up one pattern, you need to have one layer, one image. So I can merge both of these. Right. So there it is. Now it's one layer. Now I can, so that's the only time you merge in my class. Never merge except for this. Oh, project 6, I merged my layers, but you taught me. Oh my gosh, don't tell that to me. Please don't. Okay, anyways, I'm going to edit. Oh, first I have to select all, right? So I have to select all, Control A. I selected everything. Now I'm going to define my pattern. So I'm going to go edit, define. Okay, so there it is. Let's see if it worked. I'm going to go back to my project. Again, the way I'm going to teach you to paste your swatch is you're just going to make a new, you're in the patterns. So in the pattern group, you're going to make a new empty layer. I'm going to click on the empty layer button down here, or you can go layers new. There's another way to make an empty layer. Then I'm going to go edit, fill. I'm gonna find my pattern and I hope it worked. Let's find out. Wow, that's crazy on the eyes. Let's zoom in here. Ooh, slightly, okay. A little bit of a slight mess up here, but I'm not gonna like, this is probably, this probably okay for you. Like, I'm not gonna zoom in this close when I grade. So just like last week, I said, here's how I'm gonna zoom in. It's gonna be like this. 1, 2. So I'm gonna look at it like this. And I'm gonna look, there's a little bit of that, like remember there's that gradation, it's like dark and light, but the blue color actually kind of blends that a little, but you can see that this looks way different than the original. The original was this, but by adding those motifs and changing it, it looks different and it was fun. Now you can do different motifs, right? Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I did a lot of different things. I did a diamond, I did dots. You can do dots on the outside. You can do whatever. It doesn't repeat everywhere, but it does repeat overall and it looks okay. Anyways, I want to make my swatch. I'm going to use my rectangular marquee. I'm going to click once. I get my 4x4 square because I set it up to style fixed size, 4 inches by 4 inches. We talked about that. Anyways, and then I'm just going to click on the mask button. The mask button's down here. It's the black box with the white circle. There it is. I need to have a stroke on this. So I could go FX menu and add a stroke, or I can steal a stroke like I talked about last week. I can just copy a stroke from one of my existing ones and drag it onto my new pattern. That's what I'm going to do. To copy a layer style effect, to copy a stroke, you hold the Alt key and you drag the stroke on top to your other layer and it will copy it. Alt is probably Option key on your Mac. I think Mac is like Alt/Option is kind of the same button. Whatever, there it is. Okay, finally, before we go on break, I think I can show you. And so this is what you're going to do. You're gonna have all 3 of these patterns. So see, I'm gonna line them up just like last time, as best you can. Let's see, here's this one. You need to add new labels. So that's what you have to do. So what you could do, you know what I recommend? Boy, this layer panel is so huge. What you could do is, notice how these are all nice and lined up, like my first 3. I could either select the group, and if you don't have auto select on, you can copy this group again. If I select the text group, in fact, let's do it. I'll show you this way. I select the text group from last week, right? I'm going to hold the Alt key and just drag that again. Now, because I have 2 text groups, I have a text copy. I can line up this group with I can line up my text copy group with my text group, right? So I can select both of these groups. I'm going to hold Control and select the other group. Then I'm just going to line them up. Remember these lineup options? What is this? This is align horizontal centers. So I'm going to click right here. Really? Okay, I'm going to purposefully mess it up. Okay, so it's not lined up. Please work. Okay, well, it worked, but it screwed them up. But anyways, now the words are lined up to each other. It's a little more challenging to line up your boxes. You could use smart guides. Let me talk about that real quick. So watch, I got this guy. I don't like smart guides, but maybe you do. Maybe you do. And I told you, just kind of move these things around, and maybe you can line them up as best you can, right? Or maybe you can use the grid. Smart guides will help you. Let's see if it works. There's so many different layers to line up to. Smart guides are under, boy, are they under view or show? Are they under extras? Ew, where's my smart guides? There they are. I was right. Okay, smart guides. So they're under show. Let's see if it works. Okay, smart guides. Oh, really? Okay, so it's not helping me the way I want it to help me. Stupid. I want it to line up with this edge. So it's not, I mean, it might help me. Oh, I know why. I know why it's not working. It's because of our mask. Shoot. Okay, normally if this was, but don't delete your masks. I want to see the masks. So if this was just a box, don't delete your layer masks. If I don't apply your mask, but if the mask was applied, it would just be a box and I would be able to line them up with smart guides. So smart guides aren't helping me, but that's where the smart guides are. I'm going to turn them off immediately because they bug me unless I'm using them intentionally. Okay, whatever. So line them up as best you can. Finally, I got one more thing before we go on break. I need that other one, and I'm going to do it kind of fast, and maybe I'll fail. But this one. So I'm going to open it up. Let's see how I can. Wow, that's taken a long time to open. Wow, that took forever. Okay, so again, I'm going to assume that's 300 pixels per inch. It is. And here's the thing. You want to have a start and a stop. So there's kind of like the center of this, of these what braids or whatever they are. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to adjust this. I want this to be in the center. Boy, it's hard to see. You want to think consciously where it exits and where it enters. You want to try to get half and half. I'm just going to do this kind of recklessly. The main thing I'm going for is, okay, so this is a little longer than this. So that might work. Maybe I can pull this. Although it is kind of long. Let's see. I want this to be in the half, that to be in half. Okay, let's try it. Let's see if it does. Let's see what it does. That's a pretty small sample too. But notice that it's like bending, like it bends. So if I took a bigger sample, it would bend. I want to avoid that. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to check the image size, just like the other times. Pixels. Okay, so here I have an even number and an odd number. So I'm going to uncheck the link so that I can only change the width. I'm going to bring this down 1 pixel. Okay, then I'm going to hit, oh, now I have to divide. Oh boy, the magic number is 252 and 330. So I mentally divided that by half. I talked about that in last week's video. I'm going to go filter. I'm going to go filter off other offset. Okay, my magic. I got to input the half number for my horizontal. It's 252. Oh, looks good. Looks good. There's no way it was 330. Did I mess up? That was pretty darn good. I'm so happy. So I was lucky. Wouldn't it be amazing if yours just pretty much lined up like this? So again, just let me just, it looks pretty good. Like I don't have a crazy shift, but I still have this seam. So again, let's see if I can just, again, I'm zoomed in close. The spot healing brush might fix some of this. Notice how I'm only going, oh, here's a little bit of oh, I didn't need that, undo. So spot healing brush will help, but you don't want to have don't have a huge spot healing brush. Don't go like just, sometimes it doesn't look bad, but just small, like you just want to fix that cut. And then you want to either copy and paste. This looks pretty darn good. Okay, but if I need, wow, I was lucky. That doesn't help for your learning. But what I can do is, again, I can copy and paste some of this texture. So let me see, I could do, I can try the patch. Let me see if the patch is going to help me. I like the patch. See, that copied, that was weird. It actually copied it. The patch didn't used to do that. And my setting, it says source. Oh, do I need destination? Let me try destination. No, that's not what I want. So it didn't used to be, it's acting like it's copying a little too much. Didn't used to, I don't know, whatever. If it doesn't work, undo it. Sometimes it's hard to predict exactly how these things are going to react. Okay, that's pretty good. And then don't forget, like if I wanted to copy and paste part of this, again, if you're going to copy and paste the soft stuff, this is where you want your feathers to be 1 or 2 pixels for your lasso. And then I would just kind of go in here. And then I would use my move tool. I would copy and just paste it right on. No. Anyways, this looks pretty good. So I lucked out on this one. So again, I would select all. Now, let's say you want to change this one too. Right now it's a gray. Maybe you're like, well, can I make this like red for fun? Can I change it? Yeah, you can. So again, I could use, this is where you're gonna have to merge it though, right? I could go, I'm just gonna go back to hue and saturation. It's such a gray, it's almost a solid color that I can manipulate this. Okay, really? Is it because it's not saturated? Ew, this ain't working. Okay, so never mind. So I'm just gonna delete this guy, trash. I'm gonna drag him to the trash. Forget that. Let me try, let me make sure I don't have a selection. Control D, sometimes a selection. Okay, I'm gonna try a color balance. I just wanna add, how about if I just add some red? Yeah, or maybe add some green. Green stinks. I don't really wanna do this, but okay. Now, remember, I have 2 separate layers. So I just need to merge them. Let me try again, because I was kind of shocked that it wouldn't let me merge these. Let me select both of these. And then merge layers. Oh, it worked that time. So I don't know, maybe whatever. Okay, so anyways, to make this select all, to Control A to select all, or you can go select menu, select all, right? Then I want to go edit define. Let's see if this worked. Okay. I'm going to go back to my project. I'm going to make in the pattern layer, I'm going to accidentally mess up. I'm going to say I accidentally make my new layer outside of my patterns. So I'm going to go edit, fill with pattern. So I'm going to change the contents to pattern. I'm going to select this. I'm going to hit OK. That's a huge pattern. Oh, look at this. This is good. This is seamless. This is seamless, but my old art director should be like, what's this? Like, what's this little line? It repeats. And you're like, really, Dave? Like, people are like that? Yeah. But for my class, this is okay. It's not like a cut. It looks like I almost have a weird little cut right here. It's smooth, though. Worst case scenario, like if it's too egregious, like maybe you'll lose a point, but this is pretty good. But in the perfect world, like this, like an art director may not like this, like this little white mark in here. And then there is a little bit of a little line here. But for me, that's okay. If it was a little worse than that, maybe you would lose like a point. But a 1 point out of 8 points isn't so bad. I have a feeling that some students will have a hard time doing even this. So this is pretty good. Again, I want to make my I'm going to use my rectangular marquee. I'm going to mask it. Okay, there it is. Now, this is outside. I messed up on purpose, but this is outside of my patterns group. So if that ever happens to you, just drag it into the patterns group. Watch, here it is, it's outside. I just drag it right on top of my patterns group. Now it's inside the patterns group. How do I know? How do I test it? Well, first off, you know it's in the group because it's indented. So it's indented, okay. Then this is like the poor man's way to check, but I hide the group. If everything in my group hides, it's good to go. That's good. Now, your question might be, Dave, if I have 2 different text groups, is that okay? It's okay. But then some of you are thinking, Dave, I like to be more organized. Can I drag my text copy group inside my text group? Yeah, that's probably better. So like what I would do is, but if your text copy wasn't dragged in, it's okay. But you can actually drag in, you can put a group within a group. So there it is. So now I have all the text together in one group. So that's cool. Yeah. So you could do that if you want. Make sure things are lined up. Like I would align this up a little better. I would put a stroke on this. And that's it. So you want to change these things. 3 new patterns. Don't copy and change one of these. I don't want that. You're going to use all 3 new patterns and you're going to manipulate. I think you only need to manipulate one. So like if you just manipulated, what is it, the tribal pattern, that's fine. But if you want to change the colors on these, you can, you know, you can't really draw anything on this. That's too difficult. This one, you can kind of draw a new pattern, but these, you can just kind of change the color. But that's fine. You can change the color if you want. But that's it. This is the end. This is the end of project 4, part 2. And just let me reiterate before we go on break. So what we do for project 4, part 2 is this. We take we start with, you know, part 4. So this is my part 4 homework, right? If I was a student. You start here and you actually use this file. Then what I didn't tell you earlier, though, is I recommend, even though you have this saved as, you know, part 4, save this as part 2. So you would probably go file, like before you even start off, I mean, some of you probably already started, that's fine, but you can save it as a new one. So I would save this if I was a student, I would save this as, you know, what do I tell you how to save it? I think I told you last week to save it as 2200 04A. This would be 2200, your last name, 04B. So this would be part B. If you put part 2, I mean, whatever, that's fine. But B is good. And that way, you know, this is your separate file. I'm not going to save mine, but I would save it that way. Then you're gonna work on those patterns, add them in, and then that's part 2. Okay. And it'll look like this or something like this. Don't delete your layer masks, just keep them, even though it's a little archaic, but I want to see those. And then line these up as best you can by hand, and then try to line up your text. And then change the names. I would change the names. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. So I copied the text so that they would be lined up, but I still need to change the names. That's okay. I can go in. Wow, good thing I remembered this. I would go in and I would name this, you know, whatever, world, you know, this is my world pattern. So world pattern is the name of that one. And just rename them. This one's going to be, you know, whatever, I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. This is a bumpy sweater pattern. But you probably want to think of something more serious. And then when you're done typing, you click on the check mark at the top, or you just click on the move tool or the type tool again. And then this one's going to be, you know, whatever, I don't know. Whatever. Hemp. This one's hemp because it's green. It reminds me of hemp. Okay, there it is. But you can name these however you want, but don't just copy the names, change the names too, right? So I failed to tell you that, but that's it. That'll be project 4, part 2, and then save it. You just put it into my upload it, and that's it. So now I'm going to stop. That's all we have to do. Oh, and let me show you one more thing before we go on break. We talked a little longer, but then some of you will be able to leave. So I want to save this. I'm going to save this as my work file, right? So normally I work at, let me check my image size. Please tell me my image size is correct. Okay, I could have sworn I clicked on image size. Image size. Okay, in pixels, inches. So yeah, so normally your work file for this project was 11 by 17 or 17 width by 11 inches height. And the resolution is 300 pixels per inch. So that's our work file, okay? But, and I would save this, but to upload, I need to change the resolution to 150 and then save it as a PDF. I think in this thing I say PDF. I forgive you if it's PDF. But anyways, for your work file, that is. Okay, so anyways, I need to change it, image size, so image size. Now, let's see if I can mess it up. Is it gonna mess up? Of course it's not gonna mess up. So let me see if I can mess it up. Don't tell me that. Dude. Okay, back to 300. Okay, and let me just make sure this is linked. Okay, so I think some students, what they did is I think they had, I don't even know how they messed it up. Let's see. Let me see if I can mess it up. This might have been checked and then see if I change this 150. Yeah. So what happened is you want to have resample checked when you do this, because what happened was I still need it to be 17 by 11. But what happens is when I lowered the resolution, it enabled me to have more inches, but the image is basically the same size. So I'm going to undo that. I actually want to, I want it to be smaller. I want it to stay 17 by 11 at 150. This is actually smaller. This actually, and you can tell the pixel dimensions on top, the pixel dimensions are getting smaller. Remember, this is a, normally you don't want to lose image quality, but this is just to upload to turn in, right? This is like, I want it to not take so long to load your project. So make sure this is checked when you change the resolution. So I'm going to hit OK. It's going to get smaller. Ooh, that took forever. Okay, then now I want to save this as a Adobe Photoshop PDF. So save as, I'm going to save a copy. Instead of Photoshop, it's going to be Photoshop PDF. And on a Mac, it might just say PDF, but try to find, if it has Photoshop PDF, that's the one you want. You want to make sure layers is checkmarked. Layers is checkmarked as normal. And I would hit save. That's taking forever. It's not that hard, computer. Wow. And then I have no patience for simple. I have a higher end computer. I shouldn't have to wait that long. That's my complaint. Anyways, normally this is selected. Preserve Photoshop editing capabilities. Normally that's checkmarked, and that's what you want. So you just hit save PDF, and that's it. So make sure you do that. Now, one more thing. If you're having, it's still pretty big. It's still image size. So now it's 150 pixels per inch, and it's still 17 inches by 11 inches. So if you want, you don't have to, but if you want to make your file even a little smaller to upload, you can do this. You can change the width, make sure these are linked. You can change the width to be 11. Okay. So it'll be, and I talked now, if that's too hard to remember, don't worry about it. So now it's 11 by 7.118 by 150. Resample is checkmarked. That's good. And I just hit OK. So now it's even smaller. Then I can, it's just make sure it's saved as a PDF. That's it. So then that's even smaller. So that's OK. That's acceptable. So as far as the correct image size goes, it can, when you turn this in, it can be either 150 at 11 inches width by 7. Oh, look, it rounded up 7.12 or 118 or whatever it was. That's fine. Or it can be 17 and it'll be 11. So 17 by 11 by 150, right? It's only probably going to be half a point if you mess that up. So, but try not to mess that up. So that's it. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording. That's it. That's it for this project. I hope that recorded.